In this exercise, I'm going to show you how to crop an image using the crop tool. You'll also see how the crop tool allows you to rotate an image to straighten it out, and how we can preview the angle of that rotation using the new Rotate View tool here inside Photoshop CS4. I'm looking at an image called maxsnorkels.jpg found inside the exercise files folder. Because this image is at such an angle, I'm going to start things off by rotating my view of the image using this tool right here up in the application bar, the new Rotate View tool. I'll go ahead and click in order to select it. And now notice if you drag inside of the image window, now you're not applying a real rotation, you're just rotating your view of the image. The image is still going to print upright, it'll save upright, and so on. Now, just to make sure I've gotten this aligned properly, I'm going to zoom in on the image and pan it down just a little bit and see how my horizon still isn't quite straight. And you can align the horizon with one of the edges of the image window. So I'll just go ahead and keep dragging until I get that horizon exactly where I want it to be. I'll go and drag that up a little bit. That looks pretty nice actually to me. That's good. All right, so I've nailed it. Now let's switch over to this tool right here, the crop tool, which allows me to crop away portions of an image. Now, you can crop freeform just by dragging with the tool to any degree you want. And notice, by the way, that the crop boundary is at an angle. That's because the entire image is at an angle right now. The crop boundary is actually straight up and down. It's just that our view of the image is at an angle. However, let's say that I want to go ahead and constrain the aspect ratio, that is the ratio between the height and width of the image, so that's the same as it is right now. So I'll go ahead and press the Escape key, or I could click on this little cancel button right there in order to cancel out of the crop mode. And I'm going to go ahead and load the dimensions of this particular image by clicking on the front image button up here in the options bar. And it tells me that the image currently measures 9 inches wide by 16 inches tall. I'm going to get rid of the resolution value. I'll just delete it. And that way I'll maintain the 9 by 16 aspect ratio, which incidentally is the aspect ratio of wide-angle television. All right, now I'm going to draw a new crop boundary like so. Notice again it comes in at a perceived angle. Notice that the shield color right here, as it's called, is covering the area that's going to be cropped away. And if you don't like that covering, you can change it to some other color and opacity value up here in the options bar. You can drag the crop boundary to move it to a different location. You can also nudge it using the arrow keys on your keyboard, as I'm doing right now. You can size the boundary by dragging a corner handle, but because I've got it set to 9 by 16, it's going to go ahead and keep those same proportions. And then finally, if you move your cursor outside of the boundary, you get this little rotate cursor, and you can actually rotate your crop boundary to where you want it to be so that it appears straight up and down. And that's going to match, of course, the angle of our rotation. Then I'm going to go ahead and nudge this crop boundary down just a little bit, and I'm going to expand it so that I include a little bit more of the image. This way I can see my eldest son in the foreground and my wife and youngest son in the background, which is important to me anyway. And then I'm going to do just a little more rotation here. Just drag that just a little bit more to make sure that I have this as straight as possible inside of this rotated view. And then when I've completed my crop, I'll go ahead and either click on this check mark on the far right side of the options bar, or I could just press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac. Now notice the image still appears rotated. It's straightened, as you can see, so the horizon line matches the angle of the edges right here. But the entire image is rotated, and that's, of course, because we're still seeing the image in a rotated view. To get out of the rotated view, you simply press the Escape key, and you will go ahead and write the image. And you'll see the image as it's going to print and how it saves, and so on and so on. And now, if I zoom in on the image, you can see that I have a much tighter crop, and I have a straightened image, thanks to a combination of the Rotate View and Crop tools working together inside Photoshop.